What's up? This is Marcus Thompson. I'm back. Tim Kawakami, my co-host / boss.
Co-boss. You're the boss, actually.
I mean, we know that in theory, but on paper, it's not so. How we were both at the Raiders game last night. Didn't leave till pretty late.
Yep.
I'm not good. How are you?
You're sick. Something about what's going on with you. I'm your boss now, and I'm noticing that you're sickly these days.
How you talking when you almost died on the podcast?
What do you mean?
Remember last time you were sick and you were hacking all on the podcast? You don't remember that?
Not last time. That was a while ago.
Last year.
I know. That's true.
Last year you were
it was all January. I think you weren't even there when I did John Lynch after he was hired, and he was like looking at me kind of scared at how sick I was. So. We won't go through that again. That will not happen again, I hope. I'm on a new health plan.
You are. I'm taking advantage of my new health plan, the sick days, so I need to get over this. So, Tim, we've got a lot to talk about because we actually have a game to digest.
Oh, that's true.
The season is here.
We're recording this on Friday, so the Warriors are playing tonight in New Orleans.
Like in a couple hours, right?
Well, it's 6:30 West Coast start. For some reason, I was thinking they're playing at 9:30.
9:30.
ESPN, man. ESPN doubleheader. That blew my mind. But we're not dealing with that. We're just gonna watch it on TV.
Remember, there was a time when the big physical big men were a problem for the Warriors.
That's when they got Cousins. What was their? Oh my God! Now they got to deal with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins.
Is that over?
Or
are there just no big men, right?
Yeah, I don't know that it's over. It's over for the Warriors.
That's what I mean. For the Warriors, is that because it was Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol, and it was like, oh, how are they going to do that?
And it was tough for them. It was tough.
But once they exercise that demon, now it's like, please play two big guys against us.
Well, they also have Kevin Durant now,
so
that's part of it. And if New Orleans had better guards or any guards who could shoot, I think it might have been more of an issue, but they don't. So, and they had to give up a lot to get Cousins, and it's such a weird situation there. We just don't know. Alvin Gentry is, I don't know that we can just throw out a couple good big men versus the Warriors. I just think we can throw out this team being bothersome for the Warriors because they just don't have other ways you can take advantage of them. Because even with Memphis, they had Mike Conley Jr. They had other pieces.
They had Jeff Green.
They had the great Jeff Green. They had Tony Allen, who the Warriors decided not to guard, but they had other things. This team does not have. Just doesn't have enough things to bother the Warriors when the Warriors can bother you in so many different ways themselves. And when they throw out the small lineup, Kevin Durant's the 4. That's going to be a slight problem for anybody. And it's a problem for New Orleans, obviously.
Hey, let's start a rumor real quick.
I'm going to go.
You started the last one about the Warriors getting Paul George. I
might end up being right on that at some point. Who knows?
You don't think it's Anthony Davis?
That's the one. That's the one.
How do they get Anthony Davis? I think
when is his contract up? He signed one of those huge deals, right? So.
Oh yeah, he's got the major deal. That's why it could be a trade.
Well,
if you're thinking
the only way would be is if Draymond isn't on this team anymore.
Or if what can Draymond and Clay get you? Does it get you Anthony Davis?
Well, I don't know that. Again, Anthony Davis would have to demand to get out. He'd have to do one of those. You're getting me out of here.
No, what if you're New Orleans?
He's not a free agent.
But if you're in New Orleans and this trade is presented to you.
Yeah,
I don't take that.
I guess you got to look at it. I don't think the Warriors would do it. I think the Warriors would do like Draymond and Iguodala at the end of the year, not now. But that's when you start talking about what contracts do you collect that the Warriors are going to maybe walk away from at the end, and Iguodala would be obviously he's going to be the one eventually. So I don't think it would be two of their main guys, two of the 4.
I mean, but it would be Anthony Davis.
Yeah. I don't think it would be two. I don't think it would be two of them. It would be one of them, and the one would be. We've talked about this. The most likely. I don't think it's likely, but if you had to say of the big 4, who was the one that might not be here going into the deep future, who might not make it to Chase Center, Draymond's the one. And
I mean,
you would need a player who's pretty particular in the skill set.
They're sitting on 4 major contracts, right?
Yep.
4 big
and
contracts.
2 of them are going to get a lot bigger.
Yes.
So Clay in 2 years, Draymond in 3.
That 2 of those will become 1.
If you choose 2 of them for Anthony Davis, but I think they've budgeted.
Would you do it
I think they've budgeted.
Would you do it for a Cat?
Yes, absolutely. I'd say him over Anthony Davis, but if you're Minnesota, you're not giving him up. I don't think they're. I think Anthony Davis might be edging down that road. I don't think.
No, I'm saying
forget Towns is.
They don't have a choice in the matter. If it's a trade, if you're New Orleans, you're like, look, this thing isn't working.
But then, so are they better with Draymond and Clay for sure?
You just got through saying they have nobody around them. Now they got 2 All-Stars.
That's a tough one. I don't think the Warriors are giving up 2 for. I don't think either team at this point. I think it's as always what it takes for a superstar like that to be traded. The superstar has to create the situation that you're getting me out of here. If you're signed like he is, and although he's a free agent, I think in 3, he might be a free agent right about the time Draymond is, so maybe in a year or 2. It will be much more of the case, but yeah, I might go Anthony Davis as a more likely candidate than Paul George, that idiot Kawakami who started that rumor before. But just because of the position, just because, man, Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant for 3 or 4 years, and just because I don't know that. I think it's, again, the likeliest scenario is that Draymond and Clay are both on this team with extensions when they come up. But you do have to think about scenarios, and if it's Draymond, then Anthony Davis is the most likely scenario.
What does Draymond and Iguodala get you?
That's where I would start it. If you're going to go down that theoretical road, and Bleacher Report's going to grab the headline and put Marcus Thompson saying this instead of me this time.
I think Draymond could get you an All-Star if you add Iguodala's contract, which you could probably do. Yeah. None of this is happening this year, by the way. We're talking about just
a year or 2, and that would have to be if they're not sure Draymond is one of the. If Draymond's the Defensive Player of the Year again, I don't think
that's what I'm saying. The only thing you could do it for is somebody like who could come in and be that defensive player.
Yes, but at that point, Draymond's going to be 30, or however old he's going to be. So it's so many different factors come into this. I don't know that Draymond, he's an incredibly valuable player, but how valuable is he in New Orleans without Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant?
As if New Orleans just operates with this mastery of player evaluation.
They're listening to Warriors plus minus.
They'll be like, yeah, man, we got 7 more years of Draymond as defensive player. That's what they would say.
And you know what? He'd get more shots. He's going to score 26 a game.
Nobody figures this out. These GMs don't figure this stuff out.
Hey, Daryl Morey, I think, might have figured. Let's talk about that Houston game. I don't think it's a sign of any.
By the way, Chris Paul's out like a month, possibly out a month.
He didn't look right in that game. But those guys they added, P.J. Tucker. Again, I don't want to overblow P.J. Tucker. But
P.J. Tucker was a problem.
Yeah, he's a problem for the Warriors. Luke Mbabune, I don't think he's that big a deal, but you put him on the floor with other good defensive players, then you're a much better defensive team. Trevor Ariza bugs everybody. He's just a good defensive player.
When he's making his shot, he's a problem. And he was making his shot.
It just was finally a team that's like going, let's get guys who bug the Warriors instead of getting players like Jeff Green. And, I can name all of them. We've gone through them. Paul Gasol. I mean, they're just LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah.
These guys don't bug the Warriors. P.J. Tucker is a guy that the Warriors are going to go, oh, man, we don't want to play that guy in the playoffs. He could switch, all that switching defense, all that action they run to screw you up. You put P.J. Tucker, you put Luka Mbamute, you put Trevor Ariza, and if Chris Paul's healthy, he's a guy who can defend the Warriors fairly well. Not great, but fairly well. I don't understand why teams haven't done this more often. Just go get guys who bug the Warriors. You're going to have to get through the Warriors eventually.
They don't know the Warriors.
That's like they think these
bugging them. They aren't watching the Warriors and be like, hey, man, that guy's causing the Warriors problems.
Yeah.
They're not doing that.
It's been a theme of this show ever since we started this show. I don't know why it doesn't, but I think Houston's the first one that's really looked at that.
You know who else was a problem too? Eric Gordon.
Yeah. Oh, game. What the hell? What was that game?
It was interesting because they were trying to post him up, and Durant couldn't move him.
Yep.
Right. Like Steve Kerr was talking about how they have like sturdy guys. They have guys with girth, and the Warriors are a bunch of skinny guys, light skill. But Houston has a lot of these guys who could just be physical and disrupt you.
Chris Paul is
another one
for his size. Absolutely,
absolutely. Eric Gordon. So he's trying to post up Eric because he's got a considerable height advantage, and he couldn't move him. He's like trying to get some ground, and he couldn't do it. Same deal with PJ Tucker, because when you're looking at that lineup, you don't want to go at Ariza, you don't want to go at Tucker, you don't want to go at Chris Paul, you don't want to go at Clint Capella.
Yep.
So it's like, all right, go after Eric Gordon.
Where's Ryan Anderson?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And he wasn't on the floor.
He was not on the floor very much. So that Eric Gordon, if he becomes a guy, that's another
amazing.
guy.
That's amazing. I mean, I wouldn't have thought
it was fluky. It was kind of fluky. He made all the shots. They were playing well.
He was dunking like crazy, which again was what happened to him. Did he go to the same place Iguodala goes to?
He went to Germany, right? Did he go to Germany? That was
weird. That was weird.
I do think though, however, that was almost like, remember, was it last year they had a good game and beat the Warriors at home. And everybody's like, oh, Houston's ready.
Yeah.
And then 4-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I still think, look, they got 7 threes from Ariza and PJ Tucker. Like, that's not happening normally.
And they got 52 points from 3 bench guys.
Yes, is this?
That's that. Yeah, again, it was a weird game. The Warriors, no Iguodala, Draymond out for the fourth quarter. Energy was low. All those things. I just think Houston's taken the right path to this. I think Houston and Boston, we keep going. Now, Boston traded a bunch of the guys who bugged the Warriors, but they had to change that mix up to try to
get Tatum and Brown could potentially be those guys.
Those are kind of guys. Danny Ainge guys tend to be guys that bug the Warriors a little bit. Sometimes they don't play great all the time, but they tend to bug the Warriors. And those are the Morey and Ainge seem to be, and two of Bob Myers' closest friends in the business, by the way, are the ones who kind of much more isolate the kinds of players that would bug the Warriors. And in the East, you don't probably not thinking about it as much. You're probably thinking about LeBron. You better be thinking about LeBron. But in the West, I just don't understand these teams that don't do it. I just don't get it. But there they go.
You're saying Oklahoma City didn't do it by getting Carmelo?
No, well, they did it by getting Paul George. So Carmelo's some other thing. I mean, I still want to see how that's going to work.
They look good.
Yeah, I mean, they can. Listen, they can do a lot.
Knicks,
yeah, they can do a lot of things. That team can do a lot of things. It's, I wonder, like, Ibaka was a pretty tough guy for the Warriors to play. Who's the Ibaka? There is no Ibaka on this team anymore. So that's why I'm not sure how that's going to work in the playoffs. But they got 3 guys who can just go off.
Steven Adams was a problem. Will they use him? Like, will
they play him? Yeah, I know. They take him off the floor all the time to get Canner in. They move Canner, I know. So, again, what's their backup big man situation? I just don't know. But they got 3 guys. And if Adams plays more, they got 4 guys. That's a team. If I had to say one team in the West that would be would give the Warriors the most thought in a playoff series is Oklahoma City. We don't know how it's going to turn out. But at this moment, Westbrook, George, Carmelo, Adams, that makes the Warriors.
No question.
Yeah.
For me, I put them over Houston just because Chris Paul looks.
Yeah.
You just got to start with what are you going to do about Curry? If
Yeah.
you don't have a good answer, you're done.
And they had Beverly, and they had to move Beverly to get.
And
Beverly did it in a way, but it wasn't game changing.
Chris Paul at his peak can be a version of an answer, but he doesn't look like he's close to that. He looks like he can't even end the game on the court. So, but Westbrook is an answer for Steph Curry, right?
Yes.
It's like if Curry get 30. At the very least, Westbrook can get 30 and kind of nullify that.
And because they've got Paul George,
and you got Paul George,
that makes Clay guard George a lot, and guess who Steph's guarding?
Westbrook.
Yes, so that's interesting. Remember, we asked Clay about it. He's like, "Yeah, I guess we're going to have to put Steph on Westbrook a little bit." It's just kind of, this is how you have to play the Warriors. You have to make them adapt to you instead of you're scrambling around trying to figure out how you're going to, play your game against the Warriors.
And the answer is you can start with Steph. I know Steph. I wrote about his defense for your publication.
Yes, you did.
And he wants this stuff, right? He
wants, but he's always wanted,
always has, right?
Wasn't that the big Mark Jackson thing?
Mark Jackson.
We're playing him against the point guard.
And privately, he Steph is like, let me play, and but Steve Kerr really went in. He went privately to Steph and said, "Hey man, you cost us that game," which was interesting because he's saying you can't get into foul trouble once you do it. It's amazing how with all these pieces, right? And this is the best the Warriors will ever be. And you got this great starting 5 and 4 All-Stars. And this new bitch and young players and Nick Young hitting every shot he throws up, and still if Steph gets in foul trouble,
Oh yeah, well,
like it's interesting how that works out. But I was really surprised that Steve would say, "Hey, you cost us this game.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be in foul trouble," which kind of messes up Steph Curry's whole "I'm going to show you guys I can play defense,"
absolutely,
right? Like,
absolutely.
So what does he do? What happens now? He might just have to say, "All right, if you guys hit jumpers over me and it becomes this Twitter thing, I just have to deal with it." But he wants to get out there and show you.
But also that stupid jump, try to get Chris Paul to travel half court. What was that?
That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's like trying to make these plays on defense because he doesn't want to be a non-defender.
Yeah, or he gets into it and his adrenaline's rolling, but he's not the guy who can do that without fouling 80% of the time in that situation, especially as Chris Paul. If it's not Chris Paul, maybe you can get away with it, but it's just like those cheap fouls. It's like I remember watching college basketball games, and I would get so frustrated with these Big East games where there'd be 2 fouls on every star player in the first 10 minutes. Like, just go the first 10 minutes and don't foul. Like, maybe you want to foul, you want to push whatever late in the game. Make sure you don't have 2 fouls after 10 minutes. Like, a Steph would be like, don't foul. Just don't do it. I don't care if they score points. How many times teams could get in their offensive flow early, and then you shut them down late. That's what the Warriors do. Just don't give up the layup early on. Don't get those 2 fouls. Steph got those 2 fouls early. Now, Draymond can play through that. Because
Steph can't resist.
Yeah,
he can't do it.
If he's got 2,
proven over and
if he's
over.
got 2, he's going to get 3. And he gets 3, he's going to get 4. Like, how many times you see it? It's just automatically, and he did it last game, and it does. That screws up the rotation, unlike anything else, as you wrote about. Because how many times have I written? They don't have a backup point guard, Marcus. They don't. They
have players who can play point guard.
They run a system where they supposedly don't need one, but
you need one.
Well, especially when you have Steph Curry as the fulcrum, and you take him out, and you don't have all of a sudden you not only don't have Steph Curry, you don't have the guy who runs your offense, and they don't have any. Sean doesn't do that anymore. They don't ask him to do it. That's not his role. He's not that good at it anymore. McCaw maybe, but also again they were out without Iguodala last game. But I don't think they'd want Iguodala.
They tried McCaw a little bit, but it didn't.
He dribbles up entry pass, and then everyone else does whatever they do. And again, that's what they want their offense to be. But with Steph, that's not what their offense is.
Who else can run the pick and roll that's actually effective?
It's a good question. Not 35. You would think Durant, but that's not really his game. And then I don't know. I mean, it was Sean Livingston when Mo Spates was out there, David West and Ian Clark.
Yeah.
They have to figure this out. I think they want Nick Young to be something like that, but that's not anything.
But you need somebody who can come off, make a play for them or somebody else.
Yep.
Like that's.
Yep. And they don't have that again because.
They have other guys.
Yeah, the Steph is so good. Again, he's good. They need someone else who's almost. They don't have.
Can you imagine if the Warriors went and got that guy? What would the reaction be? Right? If they like dump Looney, who by the way they're quietly raving about Looney. He's got this great camp.
And, let's see who's inactive tonight. By the way, do you notice that who's inactive?
This is how you move a guy.
Yeah, exactly. This is how you move man. Hey,
man, he's looking good. He's had a great camp. He's in great shape.
Boy, other GMs, you want to see? Oh man, in practice, he's looking great. Wow.
If they dumped Looney and got a good backup point guard, the world would go nuts.
Yep.
They would go insane because they can't. The Warriors can't have any more breaks, any more benefits because once you get Durant, you can't do that. Mm. But hey. They're gonna do it. Yeah. That's what's gonna happen. They're
gonna look.
No question. They're gonna look. So you're not buying the Looney hype? I know you're all on the Jordan Bell bandwagon.
Every chip I got is into the middle of the pot with Jordan Bell.
So there's
just
no
as a role player.
There's no chips for Looney.
No, I can't imagine they're gonna pick up his. It's all contractual, really. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, Bell is better than him, yes, but. With Looney, what it's about, he's got this option coming up for next year that they have to exercise by October 30. There is just no way I can imagine them exercising this option. There's no way because it's the luxury tax. He's got, 5 guys ahead of him if you count Bell. I think Damian Jones is actually ahead of him just because he can play center in the league. and I'm not sure Looney can. I don't know what position Looney can play. So, not on this team. So, if they don't pick up his option, that means he's a free agent.
He's got to go.
Yeah, that means that you.
But do you even have him on the roster in the year because he's getting like 1.5?
Yeah, and
so
they're going to try $4 million. You try to move him. You try to move him, so you get him off that luxury tax number at the end of the year. And other teams know it, so I'm sure they're not getting offered much. But that
he's got to find a place to dump him.
Yes, that doesn't cost you any money.
I don't know.
And that maybe you have to move a 2 with them, something, and they hate doing that, but they can just go buy another one.
What do you make of? I asked Steve why no JaVale. He said he told JaVale 2 days early, I'm not gonna play you in the opener. Mm-hmm. Part of it, I'm like, how did he take that? He's like, oh, he's a pro. He knows, what it is. JaVale tried to go out and get a better contract, did not.
Yes.
So he didn't have any other options. How do you see that working out on the opener on ring night?
Yep.
JaVale knows he's not going to get it. That's not the same as, hey, Game 5 in the finals, we really need this game. We believe in this system. We don't want you to get caught in a pick and roll with LeBron. Mm-hmm. This was, I don't want you going against Clint Capella.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. But hey, JaVale's got to understand this. This is the reason he has a ring is that he was great about it last year and played a lot, granted. But he took that role because he wanted to be with these guys, and he wanted to just let it grow where it went, and if he didn't play, he didn't play. I'm sure he didn't love it. I'm sure he sees what this is developing into. I've talked about this for a while. Where Jordan Bell's minutes are going to come from, likeliest is that JaVale McGee slot.
And Zaza, he didn't come back.
Yeah, well, but Zaza does that too. I mean, that's happened before.
That second half minutes, though, that are available.
Yes, but those were JaVale's minutes before. So I think JaVale can see it. I think JaVale's going to have to deal with it. I think he knew that when the Warriors did not up the ante for him at all coming back, and it's not like someone else said, "Man, you're the guy. Here's $10 million." So this is life, and he might get himself another ring, and I think that's okay at some point. Again, he's not going to love it if he's sitting, but he'll play. I mean, they'll get him in there. It just won't be. What did he play like? 8 minutes a game last year.
He had a good year.
Yeah, 8 to 10 minutes last year.
It's gotta suck to have a career year, kind of get back on the map, and then you can't get a contract.
Yep.
And now
I agree.
I mean, it's kind of gotta suck.
And then the Warriors draft another
right.
draft another guy. But he can look at Damian Jones and Kevin Looney and go, well, I'm in a better situation than those guys are, at least as NBA status. The starting center of this Warriors team next season is who? And it might not be any of the 3 that were in the rotation last year.
It's gonna be Jordan.
It might be Jordan Bell. Damian Jones could be that kind of, that Zaza. You throw him out there.
Damian Jones was inactive, right?
Tonight, yes.
I mean, wasn't
in
game 1?
Game 1 also,
yeah,
yes. So it was Iguodala and Damian Jones, right? Yeah.
So we got 9 minutes for Weston opener, 12 for Bell, 8 for Looney, 4 for Caspi. And that's all the big man activity.
Yeah,
outside of Zaza.
And Steve doesn't count Caspi as a big man, which he kind of could be, but Steve does not count him as a big man.
He's just a wing guy.
Yeah,
right?
He counts him as almost like as a guard. Like Slater keeps calling him a guard, and I was kind of whoa, but that's what Steve counts him on. I think you could throw him out there as a small ball center if you just kind of want to fake it. Steve does not want to do that. Well, he's got too many other centers. That's probably what it is.
He's got too many options. Wes understands, right? David West is like, I'm not trying to play 82 games anyway.
Yep.
Holler at me in the playoffs. I just wonder how that's going to work. You just got so many guys.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what Steve does, too. He manages this. He gets them involved. This is part of his magic is making sure guys on the end of the bench are, part of it. So he'll get them in, but, man, that's got to suck for JaVale.
Yeah, I agree.
Fans love him.
Yeah, I agree. And the teammates love him, and they want to throw those lobs to him. This is just his role is going to be, and he gets that ring because he's been great at it. And if they had any suspicion that he wouldn't be great about this, they wouldn't have brought him back. And Steve was, I'm pretty sure Steve was one of the main guys who wanted him back because he just likes having that security of, listen, wait a minute, in Game 3, Rudy Gobert, I need somebody who can be an athlete with him. And if he screws up a pick and roll once or twice, that's okay against that team. Now, you can't do it against some other team, but against that team in Game 3, I'm going to need him. I mean, what did he have? Something like 22 minutes in one of those Utah games. where he's like playing most of the third quarter.
Oh,
That's all Steve says. I don't care. You might not play 20 times this season, but I just want to know in my head that you're going to be there for Game 3 against Utah or whatever game we're circling. But that's the one I keep thinking of.
You ready to call him Swaggy P yet?
No, I'm never going to.
Come on, man. Come on. He's earned it.
He makes what? He makes 4 3-pointers off the bench. What?
6.
Yeah.
8 for 9, 6 for 7 from 3, 23 points.
And what was his
minus
plus minus?
10.
I was gonna say, what was his plus minus? How was he guarding those guys on the wing?
Minus 10.
Oh, was he bad defensively? He was bad defensively. So that's not. I mean, again, this is what
he came here to make shots.
He made him make shots. Luke Walton was talking about his defense and how great. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that Luke Walton supported defense.
Are we gonna see it?
I don't know. If he makes and it's almost like if he makes threes, he knows he doesn't have to play
Keep in
defense.
mind, he probably doesn't have to play defense when you have Andre, when you have Draymond for the fourth quarter. He probably doesn't have to play that much.
Yeah, he's gonna play better than he played.
Yes,
Tuesday though.
He was like Gordon was blowing right by him.
I mean, it wasn't even. It was like guys go up against the worst defensive. It was J.J. Redick, old J.J. Redick, not even recent J.J.
I think it's hilarious that Houston played 8 guys.
Yeah.
Mike D'Antoni wanted that belt.
Yeah.
He played 8 dudes.
Yeah, it was really wild.
8.
And Paul was really limited minutes.
Yeah,
so,
and Capella didn't play a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think he played 20 minutes. So he really rode like 6 guys hard.
Yep.
Yeah, that was insane. He really.
And then he talked about it afterwards. He went at Draymond, which, hey, you win the game, you can talk. Draymond talks about people when he wins, so someone else can talk about him.
I bet you Draymond didn't mind at all.
No, it's part of the
back
and
and
forth.
forth. Like, oh, okay, I have a taker.
I know, back and forth.
I have a taker.
Back and forth.
I'm waiting for the cool story, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that element.
Yes.
When are the Warriors losing next? By the way, you're gonna call him Swaggy P at some point.
We count that. You count those days down. I don't know.
8 for 9. 8.
Yeah. Give me a plus. Give me a plus on the plus minus, and then we'll start talking about
8 for 9.
Give me a time he shuts somebody down dribbling on the perimeter.
Let's go down the schedule. I'm gonna go down the teams. You tell me.
What's the back to back? It's New Orleans and
Memphis.
That might be an L.
So New Orleans the L or no?
No, New Orleans tonight. W. That's a W. The Warriors aren't going to lose after.
But you writing off back-to-backs already? Is game
I'm
3.
just looking at it. I'm just saying that's where I start looking for.
Are you saying Memphis is an L?
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying I would look at it as an L because I don't think Iguodala is going to play. And you don't know with Draymond with a knee and maybe he doesn't play the back-to-back. Those are the issues I look at. Those of us who've covered the league a little bit, Marcus.
I'm just saying, Draymond, don't you sit him tonight, play him against Memphis?
No, he's playing tonight.
He's going to play tonight, but you can sit him tonight.
Yeah, he could. They're not going to. He's not. Draymond going to play.
He
saw those reports.
He saw
Draymond's looking bad. He's not. Oh, he might be.
If he plays tonight, he'll play tomorrow.
He'll play, but he might not be at the sharpest we've ever seen Draymond. So I'll say they're going to beat Memphis also, but that's a game I'd look at that they might lose. What else? What they
Dallas next Monday.
Win.
Saturday they get Sunday off. They get Monday.
What?
Dallas they get at Monday.
Win.
Win. I thought you asked me win.
That's a win.
Wednesday, at home against Toronto.
Toronto
always plays them tough.
And Warriors, some of those Eastern teams coming to the Oracle, Warriors kind of go to sleep. I don't think they'll go to sleep on that one, but I think that's a win. But
it's the first.
Again, they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose 2. Yeah, they don't want to lose 2 at home. So I'd say that's a win.
All right, so we're at 4 straight.
Yeah.
Wizards Friday.
No, they'll be up for that.
Steph loves going against John Wall. And John Wall loves going against Steph. They'll each have like 40.
Yeah, and that'll be a fun game. The Warriors like those games though, and they win those
that's
games.
right. Have they played since Kevin Durant got hurt against Washington?
No, probably not. Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, that was a game.
And Kevin will want to. That's not those Eastern. Sometimes the Warriors are flat against the Eastern teams, but not the Wizards for some reason. They just
John Wall and Steph.
They like it. They like that
John
game.
Wall and Steph are very competitive buddies. After that, Pistons
win
on a Sunday.
Win.
They have rest, and then the Pistons
win.
Monday, back to back
Yeah.
in LA, the Clippers.
Oh, that might be it. We know those LA games. We know that.
They don't have a night in LA.
I know.
They do. They will fly after the game, probably.
Oh, is that a Sunday day game?
5:30.
Okay. That might be an L. Because no Chris Paul. They're kind of sleeping. Be sleepy at Staples. That could be an L.
Sunday night. They'll fly. It's a 7:30 game. They get there kind of late though.
Yeah.
I mean, is there time
I know
to
it's not.
party?
It's not the classic LAL. It's not the classic, but
It's not the day off in LA before.
There's going to be one of them in LA. We know this.
Yes,
There's every year. So it might not be this one.
It's gotta be Luke. Save it for Luke.
It was last year.
Save it for
sure
Luke.
was
It'll
last
be for
year.
Luke.
I will not say that's an L, but one of these LA games is going to be an L.
All right, so we're looking at that 6 in a row, 7. Now we're at San Antonio Thursday, November 2nd.
Yeah, that could be an L.
That's a nice little break. They get Tuesday, Wednesday off. Play Thursday in San Antonio.
TNT, probably. Yeah, it's an L. I'll make that an L.
There's no way they're losing in San Antonio.
They're going to lose one of these.
Not in San Antonio.
Yeah, they're going to lose one of these, so I got to make an L there somewhere.
Here's where they lose. 2 days later at Denver.
Yeah, well,
they've
lost there before. They've lost there
that's
before.
Where they lose. So
I don't even know who's on Denver anymore. Gary Harris,
Jokic, Jamal Murray,
Will Barton.
Didn't they just get Millsap?
Oh, they didn't get
got
Millsap. Okay, there you go.
Millsap?
That's a guy who bugs the voice a little bit. Okay, that could be one. I was like, they don't have Gallinari anymore.
They got Will Barton.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Here we go. So that's so. All right, I'm predicting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game win streak to right the ship, and then they'll lose at Denver.
They've done that before.
It's interesting. It's not a back to back either. Normally, remember Denver was always like the back to back. They've been complaining about that for so long.
Yep. Wow. They remember in the bad old days, the Warriors were always the other teams back to back.
Yes,
just because they wanted to throw some wind. Like that's when Sacramento was really good, and I think they thought it's unfair to do it the other way to make them be tired to go in to play Weber and Bibby and everything.
So
that they
give
flipped
them
it.
Weber,
Give them
the Warriors. Yep.
They got the Musselman years. I just remember like 8 of their wins, of their 18 wins, were on some other teams back to back. I go, do you guys realize that this is a stinking team that they have to do it that way?
All right, so you got November 2nd, and I got November 4th.
All right, let's see who wins this one.
I know, right? You know what we should have did? We should have did the envelope thing from before.
That's right. But they lost, though, so it's not as exciting as it was last time.
Yeah, they kind of have to win tonight.
I know, does it make it anything flow there? But by the way, who won that envelope thing last time?
The dude who I was trying to get to hire me.
You're tanking. Yeah.
I was trying. I don't want to beat you at tennis and all that stuff. I gotta let you win. I needed you to hire me away from Bang.
Oh, brother.
I'm definitely. I think there's going to be a big win streak this year.
Yep.
I think they're gonna rattle off a few. Steve Kerr's talking a lot about their conditioning. Who is he talking about? We know Nick Young.
Yep.
I don't think Kevin Durant's in that great shape.
Yeah. I mean, there was times I thought that Durant didn't really rotate great, and I thought there were times that Steph Curry did not rotate great. So I would say those two. I'd say maybe, because they're reaching because he wasn't in great. It's not physical shape. I think it's more mental shape more than anything. And again, Steve didn't say
focus.
Yeah, Steve didn't say because of China, but that's what they mean. That they're just kind of not quite there yet, which is okay. And they might be there tonight or 4 nights or 4 weeks. It doesn't really matter. But I think that's what Steve's talking about. They're just not quite in tune. And what did he talk about? Defense. They were top 5 defense the last X number of years.
Gave up 122
and
60 points in the second half.
Yeah, this is what drives their intensity. This is who they are when they're at their best, is when they are blasting down the court because they've gotten a turnover. Draymond's done something, and that's where they count on Draymond so much when the others are kind of sleepy. Many times. He was their best player in that game. Then he can't play in the fourth quarter, and then look what's happened. So I think Steve's talking more like just, the passion wasn't there. And so that's some of that is not out of shape. It's more just, whatever. We're just rolling. And he kind of wants to amp that up, I think, a little bit.
He talks a lot about focus. He talks about their ADD, right? They just, they don't lock in.
Yep.
Clay disappeared second half.
Yep.
Some of it, too, those were some weird lineups. It was tough to get a rhythm.
No question.
Nobody on the bench was a positive. Nobody was a plus. At best, I think, David West was a 0.
Yep.
And everybody else was a minus.
You're bragging on your guy Nick Young, yet you're bagging and ripping him.
Nick Young wasn't here for plus minus. He was here for buckets.
It doesn't matter what the plus minus is.
Yeah, forget that. He's here for buckets. Did he make some shots? That's all we need to know. He made everything he threw up practically. Like you're gonna call him swaggy. You're gonna do that. I'm saying no. I'm not liking the Draymond playing tonight.
I think he wants to play. You play him, and maybe you cut down the minutes, but he wants to play. You play him.
This is supposed to be the let's not do too much.
Except for him, and they will pull him back, but he doesn't want to be, oh, he's hurt and no, he can't play. I think Draymond just wants. I'm a tough guy. I can go out and play. He's dramatic about it. We know that he's gonna play up the injury a little bit, but then he's gonna want to play, and that's the whole Draymond push pull. And I think he will. And he wants to play against Cousins. He wants to play against Anthony Davis. So he'll play, maybe a little bit less. Hey, what happens if he doesn't play a game and Jordan Bell plays great? What goes through Draymond's mind then?
He's thinking, oh man, Zaza's out. Draymond's like, this dude is not taking my job. Dang, poor Zaza. What's he gonna do now?
Wow. I better talk to JaVale about this and console him about losing all these minutes.
I don't know. It's the plan of, like, for instance, Iguodala. If he's got anything, he's not playing.
Mm-hmm. But that's Draymond's a little bit not on that
different.
plan. Yeah, he's not on that plan.
But
he's not 30. He's not 32 or whatever Iguodala is on.
You start talking meniscus and Draymond, sit down, bro. Yeah. Have a seat. That's what we're talking about here. Of course he's going to play. And you know what? He's probably going to play really well.
Yep.
He loves Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. He loves trying to shut him down. Last year, remember he had the game-winning steal against Anthony Davis.
Yes.
In the playoffs, he drew the matchup against Anthony Davis and did really well when I was chronicling the buckets. He shot like 30% against Draymond. He loves that. This is why he's playing. This starts the Draymond Green Defensive Player of the Year campaign.
No, absolutely.
It starts tonight,
Make that big play at the end of the game, and the Warriors feature.
Let's do it again.
This is why we talk about the big man versus the Warriors. This is why it's not that big a deal anymore, because Draymond loves playing those guys because they aren't as versatile as other players. Warriors get hit by versatile players. They don't get hit by throw it down low, he pivots, dribbles, turns, jump hook. That's not who they get hurt by. Why? Because Draymond loves playing those guys. And Durant was pretty good at it last year too, by the way. So 4 blocks for Kevin Durant, game 1, by the way. As I rip his intensity. But
he should have had 6.
Yeah, come on now. You didn't rotate correctly enough. You had 7. But that's why these supposed big teams. How many times did Cousins did Draymond come over, swipe the ball away, and it's a dunk the other way, or it's a 3-pointer? So that's another reason why these big teams with big men who can't pass out of double teams, the Warriors eat these guys up.
Eat them up, right? Steph can't wait to dig down. So you'll get a kick out of this. I'm getting a few of these replies to my articles, Tim. I wrote the Steph defense, and I put the link out, and people keep sending me the screenshots of the, where the story cuts off, and it's like, subscribe to it. Yeah. Like, man, this ain't fair. I want to read it.
They got to subscribe.
It's not fair. I want to read it. So, Tim, tell them about our offer we have going now.
This it's going to end either today or tomorrow. I'm
going to be tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's a week-long, 30% off subscription price for a year, and 50%, half of the proceeds are going to specific charities involved with the Northern California wildfire relief. This is a huge thing, and I think if you've been on the borderline and you kind of liked our stuff and been thinking about coming on and want to read the Warriors stuff and you want to read all the other good stuff we're doing, this is the time to come on. And if you hadn't done it, this is the time. If you want to read more than 2.5 paragraphs of Marcus's columns, although sometimes that's about only good.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's about right there. But
that's all you ever edit is the first 2 paragraphs. Just for
I got a whole other word. How late I was editing your copy last night. But
let me tell you how bad I feel. You want to know how bad I feel?
None. 0.
That's exactly how that.
I know this. Did you go back in and rewrite your headline late last night, though?
Yes,
I did notice that.
I was like, ooh,
I
got a better one.
It was better, and I had to get curious.
I wouldn't do it unless I was sure. Like, ooh, I got one. Yes. I was typing a tweet, was like, ooh, I got one.
Yeah, it's the weird. People are hearing the inside operations here, where the headline shows up on the website, and I don't even. What the hell happened there?
That's
okay,
right.
Better have been Marcus.
I got you.
Better not have been somebody else.
I got you. But look, so you should probably subscribe because we're gonna get you right.
You're gonna get eventually. Do it now. Do it now for 30% off.
If you're already frustrated by subscribe signs halfway through it's going to happen. We're just started, so why delay?
The Warriors coverage is going to be unsurpassed.
Yes, that is correct.
It's already it's who we are. It's what we do. If you are a Warriors fan and you're listening to this, by the way, the podcasts are free. And that's one thing. It's a whole different thing. When you say subscribe to the podcast, it means just subscribe to the feed. But the copy is going to cost you a little bit, but it's worth it.
It's not that much. So I got a good TK's going soft, but I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna save that one.
You love this so
I just
much.
don't want to set the precedent, and I'm gonna do it every time. But I have a really good one, and I'm gonna save it.
This is like your whole reason for existence now is coming up with these
everything
things.
You tweet. I am scouring it for. And wait a second, is this soft?
People are tweeting it to me now.
Oh yeah, I'm getting people like, hey, check this out. Look how soft he is. CCing me. Oh yeah. I got a good one for you on the next episode. I promise. This is gonna be lit. Eventually, look, just so you know, if somehow TK going soft disappears, it's because Tim shut it down.
Yeah, it says when I got hard on you. That's it. It's
Tim
over.
Shut it down. And if I don't talk about it, that's because I've been muzzled.
if only Marcus could be muzzled. If only that was possible.
Yeah,
I don't know that's going to go on.
All right, I need to go watch this game
tonight.
Yeah,
6:30 West Coast game. It's so late, it's unbelievable. 9:30 New Orleans.
It's ridiculous, right?
I am amazed and stunned by it, but that's all right. Well, we got some time now to prepare for it mentally for this huge game where the Warriors must end this incredible losing streak. All right, we're out till the next time. Marcus Thompson, Tim Kawakami. Go subscribe to theathletic.com/Bay Area, and we are out.